Do any of you have any sort of final favorite moments from working with David and Mark, or anything else? Like a favorite story from being on set before we take questions from these guys?
I remember Mary, the actor, Mary Sweeney. She said, "Julie, they're gonna do your close-up for you," and I thought, "Why the big deal? What's that? Well, what do you mean?" Because to me, just going on that set was a big deal. I mean, I couldn't believe there was Peggy Lipton. How cool is that? The Mod Squad. She's there with Laura Dern, and Kyle. I was like,
Peggy Lipton is much more exciting.
I was really amazed by it all. I don't know. I never expected it to happen this way, and that's a happy accident, isn't it?
Yeah, it was similar coming on the set because they had all been together for the pilot, and I was the new guy, and so it was exciting just to see all the people and the creativity that was happening and the teamwork that was evident, and it was so open, to suggestion, and as Kyle and Julie have said, Dave just creates a open feeling about it. It's hard work, but the timing of it is revolutionary. It's not like hit the jokes and go. You can take time with different things, and so it was really exciting.
It was amazing. I mean, it really is amazing how David can get certain people. I mean, and the best of the bunch. And I don't know what he saw in me, but I guess, it was really lucky. I'm very lucky, but he gets the best of the best to work with him. And so did Angela, of course. Now, he got successful late in life. He taught school. He was a tunesmith in Nashville. And he couldn't use Angelo Badalamenti. It had to be Andy Dallas. He wrote a lot of hits. He did. That's all he did was sit in a room, write songs. And it's so foreign to me. Pink Floyd and Steely Dan, he thought those were guys, But he is just amazes me at his how he can create so much tension, and it's so easy for me to cry while I'm performing. The only thing is technically you have to think about, but it's so easy because the music is so the suspensions that he uses where it rubs, the seventh against that. It's just the second and the seventh and for the resolution, and he is so he's such a passionate man. And he did say, I did ask Angelo, I said, what would you like me to say when I do come out? He said, just tell him the story, how we met and everything. And one thing popped out that he said, when I sang it after we worked together, he said it was love at first sound. And I thought that was really great. But his people are quite amazing.
Kyle, how did you feel about being his voice? Weren't there a lot of stories written about you being his voice, his stand-in?
I think in a way, yeah. If you look at Peaks and David's interest in detective work and investigation stuff, I was kind of his, what he would imagine he would like to have been. Certainly within the world, certainly within Blue Velvet, that was an adventure that he structured, an adventure that he thought he would like to go on that journey. So I went on the journey for him. And
were you ever daunted by the dark places? I was. you know, there were a couple.
I just, just looked into Dennis Hopper's eyes and I was like, okay.
I was getting married, and my mother-in-law was, of course, she was scrubbing church floors, every Wednesday, and she decided to take the girls to the movies because her son is dating this really nice Catholic girl, or I'm not Catholic, but I was raised very strict Irish Catholic, and so was Ed, and she took all these old ladies from her church to see Blue Velvet. But I can't say anything else.
Church has never been the same.
That's right.
Did anyone, did any of the directors that had to direct David as Gordon Cole have any ability to shape that performance?
No, that came out of the box. The most difficult was just keeping a straight face. That was some of the hardest work I've ever done because you just want to laugh. Because David's the director. I don't know if he still does this. I haven't worked with him in a while, but he would sit right under the camera or he would stand right next to the lens. So when you're working, he's right there. And a lot of times, the scene would be finished, and he'd like, okay, he'd like, all right, Coop. Turn to the right and pick up that donut. So I'll be like in character, I just reach down and all right, now take a big bite. Take a big bite. So I know he's just playing with me right now. So the whole point is who's gonna laugh first. And I would hear this behind the camera. I'd hear this, and I'm pretty good. And I just like take a bite, and I take a bite and just. It was probably 50-50 on who won.
Yes.
Need a battery? Battery? No? Yeah? Yeah, it's alright?
Yeah.
Thanks everyone. My question is for Kyle. The character of Agent Cooper really is depicted as a sort of mystic warrior, a kind of clairvoyant spirit detective. And I was just wondering, for you playing that character, how did you come to terms with, interpret, and come to understand the spirituality of that character?
It was one of those things where I would get the script and I would get what I was going to do, and it was just such a pleasure. And like I said before earlier, actually, I said everything was pretty much on the page for that character for me. And it was really just a question of me believing in whatever kind of unusual process that had been spelled out for Cooper, especially in the beginning, those first 7 episodes, throwing the stones at the bottom and that stuff. And I was like, okay. That was actually a really fun day. It took me forever to hit the bottom. But so it was, I recognized who the character was, what you're saying about him, and then all that, but so much of that was David and Mark Frost too, the combination, and making this guy. And I think as the series went on, he became, what happens is difficult, Cooper became more about talking about what had happened, or was going to happen, or what was happening, as opposed to actually being moving through and being a force within the world, and that's sort of difficult. But initially, I think, particularly in the pilot, he comes in, I don't know, 20-some minutes, I think, and just, he's like a stiletto, and it was really a wonderful thing to be able to play. Thank you.
This is another question for Kyle. We got used to seeing you through most of the episodes as a straight shooting, staid, asexual federal agent. One day, a new script came to you in which it asked you to reveal your emotions. you translate that staidness into revolutionary emotional feelings?
Don't remember that actually. You know, I made some decisions and choices along the way as the character developed, and I began to chafe a bit at the suit and the tie and all that, and really wanted to become a little bit more natural, which, as I look back now, I realize wasn't really the best decision. I think he was at his strongest and his best when he was that guy, you know. And that's just by looking back, whatever. But he was at his best when he was commenting on or moving through the world, I think, and maybe not. It's almost like we didn't want to know more. We wanted to know more about him, but I think the whole point was to not, and I think that would have been very difficult in a series, because you're getting notes every week from networks saying, you know, we need this, we need this, we need this, and to hold that line is really tough. But yeah, but looking back, you know, so many different type of feelings in it, but it's a good question.
Just to jump on this, I mean, what was the direction for Cooper telling a joke? Because that's such a great moment, but it's so out of character to us, the viewers, to finally see him cracking a joke.
I just went with David. David was sort of my template on so many things. One thing I remember that was such an education in just acting was in the pilot when I'm interrogating Bobby Briggs. And Ashcroft is wonderful, and was wonderful in it. And we're sitting there across from each other, and he says something like, I don't know, he's mouthing off or something, and I made a choice to like come at him really hard, you know, like, you listen to me, blah, 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 blah. Do the scene, it's okay. David came over to me and he said, let's try a different thing, and he said, do this, 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 and that. So we tried it again, and this time he does it, and I just look at him, and then I smile, and then I turn to Harry, and I look at him, and I come back and say, I'm like, Bobby, this is how it's going to work. And I go on to sing it, and a whole other, and I realized just how much more powerful that is. And you know, David saw it immediately, and it was a great moment. It was a great lesson for me as an actor to have that.
Can you just briefly read off the number of that microphone?